Hi, my name's David.
Hi, I'm Josh, and today we want to welcome you to the first part of our guide for virgin landlords.
We're going to be going through 6 of the 12 tips to help out any prospective new landlords.
So, first one, question we get asked all the time, am I allowed to let my property? The simple question is, you need to go to the person who owns the house, owns the lease, or your mortgage company. If you've got a mortgage on the house, you need to check with your mortgage company to make sure there's no restrictions on you letting the property. Sometimes they'll put in certain conditions depending on whether or not you're allowed to let it. Sometimes you've got to convert to a different kind of mortgage. If you pay for a lease and you're not actually the freeholder yourself, there might again be restrictions on letting it, but you've got to have a look on your original lease to find out if that's a problem. It's pretty straightforward. Just go to one of those people and ask the question.
Okay, and the second one, how much rent will I get? Now, there's lots of ways. You can look at the local market, you can look at the recent prices, or you can simply ask a letting agent such as ourselves. We'll be able to do a valuation, and the important thing is to be realistic when you're looking at your rental price. It's better to have a tenant in rather than having a void period and getting no rent at all.
Fantastic. So another one I get asked all the time, quite frequently on the phone when properties aren't let in or at the start of the sort of process, is should my property be furnished or unfurnished? Now, it's one of those questions. People have got different preferences, but at the end of the day, it's just two different markets. You've got, for example, in Lancaster, you've got academics who are just coming for short contracts at the university or the hospital, and they're not bringing furniture with them, or they might be coming from abroad and don't have furniture, so they'll be looking for a furnished property. On the other hand, you've got someone who wants to make it their family home, they don't want your furniture in there. It really depends on what sort of market you open it to. What I tend to say to landlords is be flexible. If you've got a little bit of storage space, a garage, then be flexible. Put it as furnished or unfurnished or part furnished, so we can sort of negotiate with a tenant. Do you need everything? Do you not need everything? It might be a little bit of hassle at the start of a tenancy, but if it means you're going to get a long-term tenant and they've got the exact what they want in there, that will all be recorded on the inventory and all your property will be looked after, but you'll get a tenant in because you've opened yourself up to both of those markets. So it doesn't affect your rent. People think, oh, it's furnished, so we can add sort of £75 a month on the rent. It doesn't really work like that. Maybe, depending on how big the house is, you might be able to add a little bit on, but the focus is what market you're going to make yourself open to.
Okay, and number 4, how do I find a tenant? Whilst you can advertise a property yourself, it's a much better idea to let a letting agent do it for you. They have a much wider range and also a greater reach for finding prospective tenants. Rightmove, Zoopla, and also the database full of tenants that are waiting for houses. There's also the fact that legal paperwork must be completed and signed properly.
Okay, so the next one, number 5. I get asked by a few landlords, can I vet or veto the tenants myself? Now, that's perfectly fine. You can vet tenants. The important thing to remember is you can't discriminate against all the usual things. No discrimination against gender, race, sexual orientation, religion, things like that, because that will get you in trouble and you could end up with a problem on your hands. But us as an agency, whenever we get an application in, we will call the landlord with the application, go through everything, and you do have the opportunity to veto them if there's a valid reason for that. So it's completely fine. I've got landlords who look people up on Facebook. We've got people that ask lots of questions about them, and we try and get as much information when we show someone around as to the sort of tenant they are, and make sure they can look after your property just to find that perfect tenant for you.
Okay, thank you. Number 6, what about letting privately to friends or acquaintances? Now, it's always good to know who you're letting your property to, but it also has to be done correctly and legally. This helps protect your property, yourself, and also the tenant living there. All the paperwork is done just the same, and all the obligations are still in force.
So that's today's top tips. We're going to be in a couple of weeks' time with the next 6 tips. We've got some of these great ideas. They've actually come from My Deposits, who is the company that we use to protect all of our deposits for our managed properties and our let-only properties. So for any further advice, obviously get in touch with ourselves on 01524 843322. Drop me an email, josh@jdg.co.uk, or of course visit the My Deposits site, mydeposits.co.uk. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.